My name's Jordan Young. I'm a track and field thrower from Canada. For over a decade, I've been working to understand every aspect of throwing. I'm an athlete, which means the only way to be great is through raw hard work and determination. This is my story. I'm going to be taking on one of athletics' biggest challenges, the Olympic Games. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of JY Throws. Here with Tom Walsh, and I got some questions for him. Super excited for this episode, so stick around and watch the whole thing. Subscribe and like the video. Like it. So before we get into the interview with Tom, I want to quickly catch you guys up with what I've been up to over the past week. And we're going to be doing that with a good old travel montage. And this past weekend, JR and I went to Sydney, Australia to compete in a meet. So I want to talk a little bit about my technique. Anyway, cue the music. We are walking through the airport, going to Sydney right now for a meet. Both JR and I are coming off of a rest week for lifting, so hopefully we're feeling nice and fresh.
Let's just do what you want to. Please don't be polite, cause I like your attitude. Let's forget about a curfew, cause all that is stuck in my head. It's me and you, pulse speed and my heart is racing.
Alright, it is competition day and we are just about to head off to the track now.
Move us into the next dimension, let's just let our bodies be true. We make out for the thrill of it, mess around.
Just finished up the discus competition and I'm just not hitting the throws yet. It feels close. I still went 61.02, so another throw over 61 meters. It's just
without regrets. Girl, put your faith in me, even though we just met. Let's forget about a curfew, cause all that is stuck in my head. It's me and you.
So taking a look at my 61 meter throw from this weekend, I wanted to point out a few things that I can be doing better that's going to help me improve some distance in my throw. So the first thing that I did better than the last meet was I got over top of my right side a bit better out of the back. I could still be reaching further to the right, but it is better than last weekend where my hips were dropping back into the circle a lot more. And on this throw, what I see at the front of the ring is that I got my block foot down a little bit too early. So ideally my block foot would be getting down a little bit more to the right. And because I'm blocked off, it makes it so it's really hard to turn my hips through the finish and throw the discus down the middle, lining up all my power. And that's exactly what happened. You can see that to get the disc around, I had to pull off to the right side with my off arm. And in this position, you can see that my left foot is already off the ground, which means that for the whole remainder of the throw, I'm not pushing on the ground and accelerating the implement. So I'm really just missing the whole finish of my throw. So over the past few days in practice, I've been really thinking about getting over top of my right side out of the back and making sure that I'm landing in a nice balanced position in the middle so that I can actually turn my foot in the middle. And that helps my hips and my upper body align so that I can direct the power into the finish, which is something that I was missing in the competition. So overall, to go 61 meters, missing the finish, it's not too horrible, but I really need to make sure that I find the finish because 61 meters just isn't going to cut it. And taking a look at JR's throw, I want to point out a couple things that I know that he's been working on. The first thing is that out of the back, his left foot stopped rotating, and then his sweep leg needs to cross his body in order to get down to the middle, and that was throwing off his balance and timing. So what he's been working on over the past few practices is making sure that he rotates all the way around his left leg out of the back until his toes are facing the direction that he wants to drive. And from there, he's getting down through the ring and able to apply more force into the implement. Anyway, enough about our technique for right now. I want to send things over to Tom Walsh.
Like it. I'm going to.
Can you walk us through your shot put throw and explain some of the feelings you're looking for in the throw?
Look, I try and do the same routine every throw. So I do some breathing stuff beforehand to make sure I'm focused on the cue words that I'm looking at doing. I focus on more movement cues rather than positional cues. So at the moment I'm working on being really aggressive out of the back of the circle and then attacking the front and actually kind of getting through the ball. So those are kind of the keywords I work with at the moment, and then we kind of I go to the front of the circle, forget about the whole thing, go to the back and just go for it.
Throughout your years of throwing, have there been any big technical breakthroughs that have really helped you add distance to your throw?
I think the big change was when I missed out on world champs in 2013 by 1 centimetre. I was like, this isn't working, I've got to try something else, you know. And I was quite flat like Dylan Armstrong at that point in time. So no flight time in the circle, like right foot touchdown, then left foot was still at the back of the circle. And it just wasn't working. And well, it was working, but it wasn't working quite as well as what I wanted it to be. And then I talked to my coach at the time, Ian Baird, and I talked to. Then I went over to Melbourne to talk to Dale Stevenson, who's now my coach, and Scott Martin, who are two of Australians' best shot putters. And we kind of figured out that maybe we'll try some more flight time, a bigger knee drive in the middle, and then that kind of started clicking. And then I started getting stretch at the front of the circle, and then started getting some, real power behind the ball. And within, 6 months of that, I got third at Sopot with throwing 21 and 26, and then it's kind of just boom, boom, boom since there.
How would you rank the importance of strength, technique, and speed in the throw, and what do you like to focus on?
I think you've got to be strong to throw. There's no doubt about that. I think though a lot of people put too much importance on strength. I am pretty strong now, but I'm still no Chuck.
Yeah.
I'm still no Stipe.
Yeah.
I'm still no Ryan Krauser. I'm still no Joe, But to make it easier on yourself, I think there's a few checkpoints. And for me, I think, benching 200, squatting like 260, 270, cleaning or power cleaning probably like 170, 165, 170. They're good markers to say, okay, you've got enough horsepower for the time being. Now we're going to have to figure out how to get it into the shot. So I think strength is pretty important. But I think if you do it too fast too, like you just can't figure it out. You can't get into the ball, and then you lose the feeling for the ball, and then that's why you see a lot of young throwers, in my belief, kind of get a little bit lost. So it is probably the most important part. But then you roll into technique, and you can't do one without the other. Because to get into some positions in the circle, you've got to be strong. But then you've also got to move through those positions with speed. So I think it's a bit of a cliche thing. You kind of need all of them to actually throw far.
How much specific strength exercise versus just raw power lifts do you do? And do you think the specific strength exercises are important for throwing? Or do you think just the bench and the squats and the cleans and stuff like that are?
I think it's really important to do like rotational strengthening stuff. We do some K-box things, which is eccentric loading. We do actually a lot of eccentric loading work. And look, I think, you can't go wrong with the basics, right? You can't go wrong with Russian twists and some bar lunge rotations and squat, bench, and pulls and something like that. So I think keeping it simple, if you're looking to write your own program and you don't know kind of where to start, look, just if you're lifting 3 days a week, do a deadlift or an Olympic lift, then do some type of squat, front, back, safety bar, whatever, and then do some type of bench, incline, dumbbells, flat, and then make sure you do pulls and rotational stuff in there. And I think that's pretty simple, but you can't stuff that up. And then I think as you get further into your career, as you start throwing further, that's when you can start adding some different stuff in to one, keep yourself fresh in the mind, because if you did that 3 days a week for 10 years, I'd struggle. But I think then when you kind of, maybe like a 21-50 shot putter, maybe a 66, 65 metre shot discus guy, that's when you're kind of looking for that last kind of 5% to finish you off. And that's kind of where you can get the specific stuff in.
What's the biggest mistake you see young throwers making?
I think it's not a mistake because they don't know. And it's good that they don't either, is wanting it now. Well, don't get me wrong, it's good that you want it now. But like at the same time, like, I think you've seen it out here this morning with the young guys, like they're beating themselves up after every throw because it wasn't perfect. And you got to be able to figure out a way of, okay, you're allowed to beat yourself up, but then leaving that behind and going, okay, well, that was shit. How am I actually going to fix it? How am I actually going to sort this out? But having that hunger also is a big motivator, a big pusher. And my coach always used to say, Tom, don't push the river, let it flow by itself. So when it's meant to happen, it will happen.
What has been your biggest struggle or obstacle to overcome with throwing? Have you had many injuries or anything like that?
I'm pretty lucky. I've had a few adductor issues because I move so fast. No, I've torn my adductor twice on both sides.
Oh, wow.
So that was, it's not ideal.
Yeah.
I'm pretty lucky, mate. I've been really well supported down here in New Zealand.
That's awesome.
I guess the travel's one thing. I'm away from home about 200 days a year, so you've really got to love it.
Yeah.
I've been very lucky to have really supportive people behind me to do it, whether it comes from Dale, my coach, my physio trainer, strength and conditioner, whether my family, my girlfriend, my mates, they're all pretty supportive. I think if you surround yourself with people that want to support you and will be there when shit doesn't go right and when shit does go right, those are the people you want to listen to, those are the people you want to have around.
What is your favorite meal before a competition?
I'm not really a superstitious guy.
But I am a little stitious.
So just anything really, I'm not fussy at all.
Just if there's anything you could say to some young throwers that want to be shot putters.
I think you gotta like want it. You gotta obviously have that huge push for motivation. But as I touched on before, don't push the river. Let it flow by itself. And if you are training hard and you are putting those hours in, you're lifting, you're stretching, you're doing the prehab, you're throwing. Progress isn't a straight line. It's kind of like this, and sometimes you go down before you come up. So just be patient with it and stick with it because it's a cool sport to be involved in.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, mate.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.
All right, and with that, guys, I'm going to wrap this video up here. JR and I are actually in Wellington, New Zealand right now for a track meet, and we compete later this afternoon. So in the next video, I'll be updating you guys with what's going on there. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, leave a like, and if you really enjoyed it, subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next one.